Hello and welcome to Crypto Weeklies. In this video, we analyze Ethereum. None of the content is financial advice. Let's get started. Now the price of ETH is meaningfully above $4,200. This is a long time coming. It took about 4 years now. The last time price of ETH was back above this 0.786 fib level was all the way back in December 2021. Since that, the 0.786 had been a meaningful area of resistance for ETH in March as well as in May of 2024 and in December of 2024. Now the price has meaningfully broken out of this range. The next target for ETH is at around that $4,900. That was the previous all-time high for ETH, provided that this ascending green line holds as a support if there is any correction in the market. Looking good right now. In terms of the machine learning based price forecast for ETH in the next 6 months, if there is a non-euphoria bull rally ahead of us, that means if the bull run peak is in 1 standard deviation confidence level or 68th percentile bull case, the forecast for ETH in that conservative case for ETH over the next 6 months is between $4,100 and about $6,100. So we have been doing this ETH forecast series for quite a while, especially when price of ETH was less than $1,000 back in 2023 or late 2022, early 2023 as well. You can see this. These are all the videos on the YouTube channel. All use machine learning based price forecast, regression analysis, estimation using risk-based model. And if you like these kind of content, please give a like and subscribe. In terms of the Euphoria case, which is the 2 standard deviation bull run ceiling for ETH, over the course of next 6 months, if the market exhibits some sort of a euphoria where ETH participating and leading the cycle as it has been doing for quite a while, you can see over here over the last 24 hours, although Link has taken more of a precedence, but over the last 90 days, a clear winner is ETH up by about 67% from the last 90 days. So it's definitely ETH's time in terms of if you look at the broader crypto market and who is or which crypto is kind of garnering more attention in terms of the narratives as well. You can see over here Bitcoin and ETH, definitely some of the popular narratives on this narrative word cloud. Again, this is sourced from social media platforms such as YouTube and X, and looks at some of the narratives which are garnering attention over the last 7 days. This was updated as of yesterday. Again, I would imagine today the narratives related to ETH would be much stronger than they were for the course of last 3 to 4 years. Essentially, the last time ETH was this savvy in terms of the attention was all the way back in March 2022 during that merge related mania for ETH. You can see this in another light as well in terms of how ETH is doing with respect to Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin and ETH pair over here. This is Bitcoin as a denominator, ETH as a numerator. You can see this was again back from the June 2022 to August 2022 time period. That was the last major upswing on this pair, on Bitcoin and ETH pair. Now the pair has moved out of the 0.23 fib level. Now ETH is at around 0.036. The next potential target is 0.043. That's the next Fibonacci level based target. We do have that scenario also. First we'll cover the Euphoria ceiling for ETH in terms of the USD pair, then we'll discuss the Bitcoin pair in fractions as well as in whole numbers. So as of today, as the Euphoria ceiling for this week ending tomorrow on August 10, the Euphoria ceiling is at around 4,400 or so. That is the weekly average. Right now the price is meaningfully below that Euphoria case. If there is a Euphoria case in the next 6 months and continues to persist till the end of year 2025, the ceiling or the Euphoria target for ETH is at around 8,180 if the rally were to continue for the next 6 months. If on the other hand the Euphoria case is short-lived, let's say only 4 months instead of 6 or 5 months instead of 6 months, the target moves to about $7,300. Again, this considers month by month what is a theoretical ceiling, and again assumes that there is a 6 month euphoria phase. But let's say if the euphoria phase kicks off, let's say sometime in as it did back sometime in early June till now, end of July, and potentially from that point on we have 4 more months. Then end of October, the ceiling is at around $6,800 for ETH, and then we take it from there for November and December from that point on. The maximum permissible bullish that is the bullish outlook for ETH is the 3 standard deviation or 99.7 percentile bull case if there is a euphoria blow off top scenario within the next 6 months, and if the rally stays above the 95 percentile ceiling, the next target for ETH in that environment is between $4,700 all the way to about $10,900 towards the end of year 2025. Again, we are right now somewhere between this yellow line and the orange line, as evidenced from this week. Again, the yellow ceiling was at around $4,100. The orange ceiling or the 2 standard deviation ceiling for this week was at around $4,400 as a weekly average price. So this is where the price of ETH is at this point. The regression based fair value, again, prices have reached to that regression based fair value. We did make several videos when the price was undervalued from the polynomial regression based fair value as captured by this pink line, and more importantly when the price was not just below the fair value but also below the 1 standard deviation residual drawn away from the fair value. So 1 standard deviation lower low or lower ceiling for lower floor for ETH was evidenced by this model since late March 2025 till about early May 2025, and back then again from that point in time ETH never looked back. Now the price has gone back to the fair value. The opposite of 1 standard deviation residual to the downside is the 1 standard deviation residual to the upside. Together the yellow and green line price stays about 68% of the time within that range. If the price moves away from that bottom residual to the top residual, the ceiling right now for ETH is coming in at around $7,000, and you can see in the euphoria phases of the rally, like they established thrice in 2024, there is a chance that the ceiling gets upended and goes to the price. Eventual price goes like 10 to 20% higher than the ceiling. 10% higher would on the $7,000 ceiling would be 7,700. 20% higher would be around 8,400. This is the regression based fair value and the target for ETH. The price color coded with respect to the risk levels right now is still the risk levels are about 27%. Third best time to DCA ETH per this model. The April 2025 time period for ETH was the risk level was only 11% at that point. This model also helped identify the best time to DCA ETH in 2022 bear market, and if the hypothesis was only to DCA when the risk was less than 20%. These are the phases identified by the model. Again, if the threshold is even lower, only less than 10% risk, they identified the June bottom to the dot as well as November December bottom to the dot. If on the opposite side, if you were to look at some of the intermediate bullish target for ETH, without too much looking into the euphoria blow off top scenario, between 0.4 and 0.7 risk, that helps provide some guidance. That 0.4 risk level for ETH is at around $5,300 per the regression based DCA model, and the 0.7 is all the way at around $8,000. So the target is per this model is between $5,400 and $8,100 as a approximation. Going to the 20-week simple moving average based risk level, right now they are kind of elevated. You would imagine as the ETH and BTC risk normalized, you can see ETH has far outpaced Bitcoin's risk since about June, July 2025. You can see this blue line is denoted by ETH on its 20-week simple moving average. For the longest time since 2021 till now in late 2025, ETH was underperforming Bitcoin on its 20-week simple moving average based risk score. Now ETH has overshot And whenever ETH meaningfully takes over the reins from Bitcoin, that's when major peaks occur in the asset class, like they did back in May 2021 and in November 2021. So now this is again one signal for identifying whether the asset class is getting overheated. Definitely per this signal, as ETH is outperforming Bitcoin meaningfully in the bull run, that usually is a overheated signal. This model did identify the, again coming back to the 20-week simple moving average based risk color coded with price. This model did identify the April bottom and the March bottom when the risk levels identified were 10% and 5% when price of ETH was less than $1,500. Now the price is almost 3x from that level to the $4,200 from the $1,472 level. It's meaning it's bound to rise the risk levels as well if an asset does almost a 3x over a matter of 3 to 4 months. Now the risk levels are at around 0.76. The highest that they went this time around again is right now in this since the 2022 bear market. The last time the highest they went was between 0.9 and 1 risk back in May 2021. If they were to go to that level in the short term, that ceiling is between 4,600 to 4,855 per the 20-week simple moving average based model, which is a shorter term model. In terms of the time weighted average price, the risk levels are right now kind of elevated, but they are not as high as they were back in May 2021 or October 2021. Right now they are at around 70%. In February till May 2021, they were time weighted average price risk were above 0.95. This model did identify again a great job of using this blue line, which is a time weighted average price, which in easy language or simple language is I understood that what is the time weighted price which the asset can, or the underlying asset can digest in the bear market and potentially hold it as a support in the bull run. So and accumulating below the blue line, usually for high quality assets in their individual bear market, if they are volatile enough, usually helps to tune out some noise and provide a clear entry point over a longer time horizon. Again, not financial advice. Back in April, the time weighted average price was $1,500. The price of ETH was at around $1,472. We made a lot of videos related to ETH at that time when the price was in a depressed mode. Now it's at around 0.7 risk. So again, going to the estimated bull run target for ETH is again, as a confluence of all the risk models, is coming in at around $9,500. This assumes that in the heights of the euphoria, all the individual risk-based model go to that 0.9 risk. If they fail to do that, if they go to only 0.8 to 0.85 risk, the price target for ETH would be somewhere between $8,100 and $8,600, taking 80% of this bull run peak. So that's the USD side of things. Going to the Bitcoin side of things, again, this is the number of ETH tokens that one Bitcoin could fetch. This was in a major uptrend from, let's say, December 2021 till about April 2025, when the amount of Bitcoin the amount of ETH one Bitcoin could fetch grew from 11 to almost 5x to about 50, 53, 55. Now, since that level to 53 ETH per BTC, right now one BTC fetches only about 30 ETH. Again, that's a major area to look for. Again, if this trend were to fall to a seasonal low, this low is predicted per the machine learning model to about 16 ETH per BTC. And if that coincides with let's say Bitcoin going to 160k, that's when, if you divide 160 by 16, you get a $10,000 ETH. If the top for Bitcoin goes as high as only 150k, dividing 150,000 by 16 would get you close to the 9,000s, higher line 9,000s for USD price prediction for ETH. So that's again one way to forecast. Again, the opposite of Bitcoin, ETH is ETH BTC. Again, this is just a different methodology, but that it's just an inverse of ETH BTC. So in this scenario, the valuation of the number of Bitcoin or fraction of Bitcoin which ETH fetches right now is going to at around 0.03 from the lows of about 0.018. Almost a 2x on this one as well. If we were to witness a major euphoria peak for ETH BTC, the scenario in that the valuation in that scenario is at around 0.07. If you take an average of this 0.05 and 0.07, the average is at around 0.06. And if we multiply this number to get to the eventual price of ETH, that would correspond to, so this is 150k for Bitcoin on its USD pair. If ETH goes to about 0.06 on the ETH BTC, the price of ETH in that environment would be at around $9,000. If on the other hand ETH manages to go to as high as upon 0.07 on its BTC pair, price of ETH could be at around $10,500. It all depends on how high Bitcoin goes, and when that happens, how does ETH BTC look like? If they make a slightly higher low on, if that is ETH makes a slightly higher low on Bitcoin in that environment where it kind of touches the bull market support band or the 20-week simple moving average or 21-week exponential moving average in that downturn, that would be a key level to watch for either way. Nonetheless, right now, again, as a confluence of most of the models, not just the USD models or the ETH and BTC vice versa models, all are pointing, if there is a euphoria in the next 6 months, the price of ETH could go to as high as about between 8,100 and 8,600 with a tolerance of $200 to the either side. And with that, I'd like to conclude the video. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please give a like and subscribe, and hope to see you again tomorrow. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.